I feel like there's been some pretty wild current events.
Go nuts.
We're just after the Easter weekend. We had the president of the United States.
Oh, terrible.
Terrible. It's
So upsetting.
It's very concerning in a lot of ways. But in a way, I think really healthy, to be frank. I would think really healthy.
What part? Should we define what we're talking about?
Yeah, we could talk what we're talking about. Do you follow any U.S. enough to be dangerous? Yeah. So that's the camp I would be in. I spend a bit of time on Twitter. And on Easter Sunday, and I'm going to misquote it now. I mean, we could say that it's got the F word in it anyways. Donald Trump's talking about, open up the strait, blankety blank, praise be to Allah.
Yeah, what?
I says, pardon? So I don't know if he was mocking the Iranians or if he's just completely unhinged or what he hasn't really clarified those comments. Normally when he does something that his base hates, he'll do a quick Houdini and like blame it on some intern or something. Like, he's a bit of a Gary Baars, right? Abdicate. Whose fault? Not mine. Anyways, so yeah, it was just interesting to me because I feel like, and my wife and I are in the same camp on Donald Trump and just leaders in general, but particularly him, where, we don't have TDS, like we're not, I'm not part of the, Canada only and ban everything from the United States. And I'm not in the camp of like, he's a great leader and he's doing amazing things for Christianity and he's like, whatever. Like, I hold it all pretty loosely.
If you know a tree by its fruit, it seem like a Christian.
Well, or just the idea of like, for example, if you're there and you voted for him, which I mean, I talked to somebody at our church on Sunday night who voted for him, they're an American and they thought it was pretty important and probably still would vote for him. They would say, hey, what was the alternative? So like whatever, like all that, put all that aside. It's just, we talked a lot on this show about Christian nationalism recently with another guest, and this is breaking that down, which I think is just really healthy. Let's disconnect this person who's on the human being tour, always will be, even if he says all the right things going forward. And so it was just interesting. And I guess on that front, even I'm not qualified to comment. I know nothing about, like, I know a little bit about oil and gas and how it's affecting oil prices because I'm invested in that and I follow it a bit, and it affects all of us when we go fill up at the pump. But it's just crazy to think of, hey, how is this going to play out long term, even in our economy? Like, is this inflationary or everybody's saying it's inflationary? I don't know if you have a perspective. I think it would be deflationary in the long run, where it's going to create
what specific part? Like if
oil prices.
If he follows through with,
I think all of it. I think I don't think there's winning in the Middle East. Like when they talk about him winning or Iran winning, there's no winning.
No, never has. Any war that they've done,
it's eventually kind of slowly leave with your tucked tail between your leg and lots of young men dead and a lot of carnage and thinking, hey, we don't have the leader we had there, the horrible leader, but now we have a new one and we'll see how they turn out. Like, that's what this feels like to me.
So him being the deal maker that he is, because that's sort of how
that's what he's selling
Trump.
himself.
He's the deal maker. I don't see him as a necessarily politician.
Okay.
Which was part of the why people liked him when he came on.
That I would agree with. Definitely not politically correct in any way, shape, or form.
He's a deal maker.
Yeah.
So why do you think they've done this? Based on him being the deal maker. If you think it's going to be deflationary.
It's sold as the bill of goods that's being sold, and I've heard it even in the last 24 hours from people that are not Trump fans, would be the idea of, hey, and actually they played clips recently, the right's playing clips of Hillary saying 10 years ago, I'm going into Iran.
Well, they were going to. That was the whole thing on the campaign trail, that Kamala was for sure going to go in and push it hard.
I haven't heard her say it. But yeah, now there's just been about face of him all of a sudden being very involved in other foreign countries. And
I don't think he's in control. Like, I think.
Oh, you think he's just a senile old man now?
No, I think you have a lot of powerful people that are advising him to push certain directions. It's not like you're being fed a certain amount of information. You have a CAA of 100,000 people. You have all these other organizations that have been there for a long time. Like, think about a church. A new pastor comes in. The new pastor's not changing the church. It's the elders that have been there for 30 years.
Depends.
40 years that are keeping it the same.
Chad and I are like, it depends.
Now you have an organization that's secular, that's huge, and like a president comes in.
Depends how strong the pastor is and what the church is like.
Yeah, if there's another deal going on, if there's another
something we don't know about,
something that's there that's valuable enough to him to do. And maybe it's lack of support. But I hear you guys talking about this on one of your recent podcasts. People voted for him because he wasn't going to be going into wars and things like that. So I don't know where the currency is. I don't know where he's feeling that this is
a good step,
unless there is a reality of they were at a stage, but it seems like that's debatable whether they were really all of a sudden at a level of
critical
strength that they were so scary.
I think there's also this idea that, at least that I grew up with for a long time, that somehow America or Canada was like moral, had a moral high ground for some reason, and that people in the Middle East didn't have this moral high ground, and we were somehow better, and we were the decider of like what was good and bad.
Nationalism stuff.
Yeah,
to some degree, I would agree with it. I mean, I think, and I know if Matt Keane, he's not here and he might be listening, but I mean, it'd be interesting to see his take. I would assume would be that like, hey, these are Islamic terrorists. A lot of these people, not all of them, but like there's a swath of like, we're starting to have it in our countries because we're importing it, but like that has not been our general, like, and that's, I guess, what is concerning to me, where even his comments today were really bad about just wiping out civilization. Just the lack of care for human life is so disgusting, where it's like, hey, like, we can all agree that, hey, Iran probably shouldn't have nuclear weapons. Like, I think that would be we would all agree with that. Yeah. But then from there, our opinions would really start to diverge of how we're going to get to, peace and what harmony looks like in the Middle East. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens to his base, because
it's so fractured already.
Yeah, it must be really fractured now. You're probably even more in tune with how fractured it is after this weekend.
You see what like Tucker Carlson, who used to be campaigning for him more than anything, is just like blasting him for like a couple months straight now for how hard he has gone against the base. He did a lot of podcasts when he was on the campaign trail, which usually politicians had it done before that, and that got a lot of the young voters out. And a lot of those podcasts he went on, really big ones like Andrew Schultz and Joe Rogan, and there's a bunch of other ones, he talked about the fact that he wasn't going to do a lot of these things, and they're all saying like, look, we have it on tape. It goes directly against everything that was said, and so in
that way he is a typical politician, because they usually say one thing on the campaign trail and do something else once they're in power.
For me, it's done one thing. It's just like, don't put your hopes in princes
on this earth. Amen.
Like this isn't Israel wanted Jesus to come and save them from the Romans and set up an earthly kingdom. I think naturally we want Pierre Poilievre to do that for us in Canada.
Yeah, we do.
To make everything nice and have our comfortable lives.
He's going to really let us down too. Somebody brought that up the other day with me. They said even because he was just on the Diary of a CEO, and it's a very interesting podcast. He has a very difficult story. It's actually really cool. Just very unique story, and it seems like he's done really, really well considering the journey of his life. Like, I would say, listening to his story, it was pretty cool.
Stephen Bartlett or Pierre Poilievre?
No. Well, both, but Pierre Poilievre, just recently shared his story about his journey as a child and stuff. And I just think, I think
he'd be better than Carney, but like, he's still a
politician. Well, I guess I think of like all the people that have to, like, let's just say you're an amazing leader and like, even in my tiny little way, I lead things. Well, like, you still have 100 people coming behind you that need to follow instructions and stick with the plan. And like, we're all going to screw up. I'm going to screw up as a leader. Everybody along the journey is going to fall short. And I think that is why the gospel, when you talk about, if we were put a bow on this thing, that's why the gospel matters. Yeah. Like, literally, because we are all in the human being tour and desperately need to be saved. And if we can have that posture as a church, as a country, and as individuals in our own family,
and Jesus' we'll be in good shape. Was, like the Last Supper, he's like, who's the most important here? And he's like, I am. He goes, do as I do, serve.
Wash the feet.
Like the complete opposite of what we think when it comes to power or leadership or everything else. Like he didn't come into Jerusalem on a nice black stallion. He came on a donkey, right? Like everything was backwards, and it's just hard for us to grasp. It's like this conversation about adoption. It's just like, no, it's not unfortunately, it's not what Joel Osteen says in our best life now. It's our best life later.
Yeah.
Best life later.
We get divided on a lot of things. It's easy for us to become divided just by sharing opinions. Mm-hmm. You alienate a bunch of people in that. We can be unified on the gospel.
Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful. That's the gospel day. Yeah. Which transforms.
Yeah. And I think my experience has been even recently where if you can just focus on that it's just amazing how very different churches still really agree.
Yeah.
Right? Might you agree on how it's said? They might agree on some of the wording. But they would all agree who the Savior is. They would all agree how much of a difference that makes and how we need that. And yeah, it's just pretty cool. So pray that your event is a success. And thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah, if people want to reach out to you, either on the adoption stuff or anything else, what's the best way to contact you? If you want people to contact you. Maybe
when you're a guest on this show, you're automatically a target, for better or for worse.
Absolutely. No, I'm happy to. Probably cberneski@outreach.ca is my email. And
okay, I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
Or if you Googled Chad Berneski Outreach Canada,
yeah,
they'd find you,
You'll
right?
find me.
You'll find
for
you.
sure.
Okay.
Sweet.
So.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I learned a lot.
Yeah,
That was
very,
cool.
very. Thanks for sharing your
the
story
opportunity,
too.
guys.
Really cool. Have a great, day for
I think I'd still like to have you on like the Furious Curious show and just sit down for like a 2-hour episode and dive a little deeper into some of the stuff that Gary alluded to and stuff. Because I think
with your wife.
Yeah.
I think she needs to be here, Chad. I feel like this is
after she listens to this one.
Yeah,
exactly.
She'll set the record straight.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Have a great week.
Peace.
Thanks.
We got
Get in here.
a picture.
This is the
AI will make you.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.